I would like to begin with acknowledging the traditional owners of the land Quandamooka that my family and I reside in, to extend my respect to the elders, both past, present and future, for the memories, traditions, hopes and cultures that they brought and continue to give life within Tawalpin, the area in which Europeans called Redland Bay. It didn't take much of a journey to see the British seals of ownership within my neighbourhood. Just a few steps outside my door, I could see street signs declaring and asserting the wonderful works of Western people who are known for looking after nature. Ayla Quito, founder of Rainforest Conservation Society. Ian Kiernan, environmentalist and responsible for organising the Clean Up Australia campaign. Within these landmarks, I saw the ignorance for the very people that nurtured the ground in which these posts stood firmly and allowed these houses to remain. This drew me to walk further than my doorstep, in search for any sign that would recognise the true and forgotten carers of this land. As I made my way through the pockets of nature that divide up the condensed housing, I was reminded of the history I knew of what this land once was. Before the area was divided up into allotments, it was owned by a family who harvested beans and tomatoes. It was not until this point that I realised my knowledge of history was not much of history at all. And for the first time, I began to wonder and question what may have stood here before that vegetable farm, just as I had wondered what stood here before these houses I lived amongst. I guess you could say that before this realisation, I held an opinion and understanding that this land I lived on was nothing more than terra nullius, a term in which the Aboriginal peoples have fought so hard to extinguish within legislation. Yet in the minds of Australians, including my own, is unconsciously alive. This stands as only a minuscule testament to the lack of knowledge I, along with fellow European Australians, obtain of the truth to the country in which we are privileged to call home. Without this recognition the first Australians deserve, our culture we have forcibly imprinted here allows little room for first-generation rights. The entitlements may be written in some laws, but the ways in which we live and are raised refute the consequences in which they should support their second and third generation rights. If many of us are still living in the ignorance of true Australian history, how then are we supposed to acknowledge and encourage their prerogative to development and self-determination? If we disregard the very core and foundations of first Australians, how then are we supposed to, from our privileged standpoint, close the gap we so dare dream to do?